Welcome to Conversations on the Coop. I'm your host, Trinity Director of Athletics, Drew Galbraith. It's my pleasure to be joined by two tennis-playing members of the same family, the Fishers, Bud and Phebe. Thanks for joining.
Of course.
Thank you for having us.
Well, we don't want to kind of sell ourselves as being a particular type of podcast, but we have had a number of Bantam siblings on this podcast. I know you know some of them, like the Dorians, but we're going to learn a little bit about your story today, and maybe at the end we'll see how well you know each other and kind of size you up against some of these other sibling teams here at Trinity. So both on tennis teams here at Trinity, women's tennis, men's tennis, but we'll go back to kind of before Trinity was even in the equation. What kind of family were you where you end up with two siblings playing high-level D3 tennis? So when was sports introduced in your family, and what was it like?
I can start. I started playing tennis when I was 3, so I've been playing for a long time. I'd say everybody in my family's played tennis for as long as I can remember. My grandpa played till he was 85?
Yeah. 85.
Into his 80s.
Yes.
Into his 80s, and then we had an uncle play at Cornell. Mom played in high school. My dad didn't play as much, but it's mostly on my mom's side of the family. Sports have always been kind of just
So tennis at 3.
3, yeah.
Soccer at 4.
Yeah.
We skied when we were 3. Squash at 4
5,
or 5.
Yeah.
So it's always been kind of just what we did, which
Yeah.
is kind of fun.
So tell me what tennis at 3 looks like. Is this in a driveway hitting a ball, or are you hitting the ball over the net? What's it look like?
Yeah, so we live across the street from our tennis club. Always lived in the same house. So yeah, the courts are like right there. It makes it easy to get out there and try and hit the tennis ball when you're 3 years old. It's kind of tough. I coach a lot of tennis over the summers, so I've kind of put up with that. Feeding like little like inflatable balls to kids for hours on end. They can't make contact. I'm sure that's exactly what it looked like for me. But I always wanted to get out there. I was always pulling the rackets out of the closet, out of my mom's bag, before I could even walk. So yeah.
Do you think now, if pickle existed then, that might have been a better entree?
Go ahead.
We don't play much pickleball. We never have.
Ever.
I think that it kind of translates a little bit, but I don't know, our start was always at tennis.
Yeah.
I'm just getting a smaller racket, lighter
Yeah.
ball, might have been easier for the...
Our rackets were like this big back in the day.
I mean, like a pickleball.
Yeah, same
I'm trying to give
size.
Bud some pointers for these
Yeah.
summer lessons,
Yeah.
that's all.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't really played a ton of pickle, but could have been.
So as you two are growing up, and Phoebe, I'm assuming you're a couple of years behind, so you 3 years in age?
3.
So you're kind of picking it up at the same time. By that point, you're 3, Bud's 6, and was this kind of chasing older brother? What was it like for you?
Yeah, when Bud was 6, he was good. So there was some competition. I always had like the clinic behind him, and everyone would be like, "Oh my gosh, like Bud is playing," and it was a big deal. He was, pretty coordinated for a 6-year-old, I would say. So yeah, I just followed suit. I was like, if he's gonna be good at this, so am I. So every Tuesday, Wednesday, we'd have our clinics. We'd show up after school and do the same thing, kind of.
So as you both progressed through school and then kind of into high school, what other sports did you kind of try along the way, and was it always tennis as a first love, or was there a point where you kind of came back to it?
I'd say, mostly tennis through elementary school, and then squash kind of picked up going into high school. And I always played soccer too, but that was kind of just the thing to fill the fall. And then into high school, I probably got better at squash. Definitely played a lot more, and it was more serious. I think my high school team got up to 6th in the country my sophomore and junior year, so we were really good. And I loved that a lot. Super competitive. And then, coming to college, kind of shifted to tennis. So, yeah.
So as you're going through that process, Bud, and we'll get to Phoebe, your process in a second. So you're at Millbrook, and you kind of got squash and tennis going on. And as you're talking to NESCAC schools, was squash in the cards potentially at some of the NESCAC schools?
That was the focus at like every other NESCAC for me. Going to play squash, being recruited to play squash. I'd say 4 or 5 other NESCACs. Trinity was the only one where I was talking to the tennis coach, so it just kind of worked out that way.
And then Phoebe coming up, same thing sport-wise?
Yeah, so at Millbrook, I played varsity squash, soccer, and tennis. So going in kind of all even skill based, I would say. My squash team won nationals, so we were pretty strong too. And my love in high school was squash. I really loved squash. But obviously, all three sports were great. I dropped soccer my senior year so I could focus on tennis. And played tennis all fall because that's when like recruiting time was happening. So I would go home every weekend and play with my pro and get film and stuff like that. So because I knew I needed to focus in on two things at least, because I wasn't gonna go to school for soccer. So we did that, and then Bud was already here, and my school search before I really like focused on like playing tennis in Trinity was like big D1 schools that I wasn't gonna play a sport at, because I thought since I went to a small boarding school I wanted kind of a big city school. And then I slowly came to realize that not for me. I wanted something small that kind of felt a little bit like what I was used to, but also I could play a sport at. So once, I don't know, I decided it was tennis that I wanted to play and was in touch with Coach Lewis. And Bud was already here, it made it really easy. And that's kind of when it just worked out like that too.
And so Bud had been here for 2 years at that point,
Yes.
taking a gap year. So was there ever a point in your process where I've really got to have my own thing? Did that ever enter your head?
Initially going into it, that's the whole reason I didn't know I wanted Trinity, because I thought like we've always gone to school together. We went to elementary school together, high school together, that I needed my own thing. But my realization was my parents knew too, and so did he. He always said I'd go to Trinity.
Before she came here.
Yeah. They knew that the things that I wanted, Trinity had all of that, and it was going to be a plus that he was here, which I was kind of in denial about, but then now it's like the greatest thing. But yeah, so for a moment I just was like, I'll do my own thing, and then kind of came full circle.
So when you made that final decision, clearly Bud knew,
Yes.
because he could see the
I knew it.
future,
Yeah.
right?
Felt it,
But
yeah.
when you made that decision, did you call and kind of warn him, ask permission? We've heard it lots of ways from different siblings here at Trinity.
I don't even think we had a conversation about it.
Never talked about it.
I don't think we did. I just think that I came for my visit, and he was like, "This is my sister, everybody." And then the next thing I knew, I was committed and I was coming here, and it was just like, it just followed suit because we'd always done that. So it didn't really like, I don't know, it didn't even cross my radar at least. Maybe yours more than yours.
I mean, yeah, I kind of expected it. I talked to my mom before she even started looking at schools. Was like, there's no way she doesn't end up here. It's like I can just feel it. Not even me saying like, oh, I want her to come here or anything. It just worked out that way, and she never. Yeah, there was never a conversation like, oh, do you mind if I come? Or no, it's just
Yeah.
She's not
So
that considerate.
I'm sure your parents are thrilled, because
Right.
that really makes things a lot easier on family during tennis season,
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
What were their reactions, Phoebe, when you made the
Well, it
decision?
was funny when I got an ED, and I called Bud. I wasn't at home. I was at our tennis club. I called Bud, and my parents were at home, and I was like, I got into Trinity. I'm going, but don't tell mom and dad. So I went home, and I just sat there, and my mom was like, did you get in? And I was like, no.
I think she said no.
I think I said no. I didn't know what to say. I mean, I did get in, but I was like so nervous. I was like, this is kind of weird, but yeah. So anyway, they were so over the moon excited. It was great. It just they've always had us in one place, so it just made that easier for 2 more years together. Yeah.
And so what have those 2 years been like? Phoebe, you come as a first year last year. Bud's kind of already established on campus with his team. He's chosen a major, and so he's got a full-blown life here at Trinity, and then you come in. What was that like for you coming into that last year?
It was great because I don't know, I knew all of a good amount of your friends. He had a car, which was great for me. So that made going places.
Huge.
It was huge.
Yeah.
But it also
For
kept
her,
us
it's great.
Yeah.
at the start very connected, because I'd be like, oh, can I come pick up the car? And he'd be like, sure.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But one thing we talked about before was that all of our friends are really close. So now that once I started making all of my friends, we all kind of hang out together, which is really fun. He makes me dinner all the time in his house. We always are doing something together, I feel like.
Yeah.
Off campus.
What about for you, Bud?
Yeah, I mean, we've always been super tight. I think from a pretty young age, we chose to hang out together, not just forced to hang out together, which is unique, I think. Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, it was different than being here for the first 2 years alone, obviously, but it was great. just because I don't know, having family here is different than having, you know, either really tight friends or just friends in general. It's always nice to have someone that gets it a little bit more than what your friends might get, or you can complain to about, you know, those friends that you're hanging out with a lot. So yeah, it's always good to have her here.
So as a big brother at
Yeah.
Trinity, what's that like for you? You know, you're obviously, you care a lot for your sister and probably want to look out for her a little bit more than just the guy with the car keys.
Yep.
So what's that like for you as a big brother?
I think it's been good. I think my parents really like having someone that they know is going to look out for her, which is good. Especially with all my friends, I feel like they kind of do the same thing. I've gotten, you know, texts about things she's doing. Hey, bud, do you know about this? So yeah,
We're breaking news on the podcast here.
Yeah. So it's good. I feel like my parents really appreciate it. I don't know, being a big brother is always a little bit protective, but yeah, I've just enjoyed every moment of it. So yeah.
And what's that like for your teams? It feels like the teams nowadays are really close. We have two coaches who are certainly very, very close, and I think they encourage the team. So what's that like just for the teams, irrespective of your sibling piece, that you've got two teams that generally do spend a lot of time together. There are a lot of really close bonds there.
Well, I think it's great that our teams are so close. I do think for us it makes it different, obviously, since we are siblings. I think we're kind of a little bit of a link between the two teams, because whoever I hang out with, he's hanging out with on our team, kind of, so to speak. So that makes it kind of not just like men's and women's team connection, but like we're even a little bit closer than that, which is great. And obviously we're on the same exact schedule, so it's kind of hard to not have that connection with everybody. But yeah, I would say ours is a little stronger.
Yeah. I think we're doing the same thing all the time. Definitely encourages both teams to hang out, because I'm already hanging out with her, or she's following me around, one of the two.
It's the car.
Yeah,
it's really the car.
It's just the car keys. That's it. That's all it is. Yeah, it definitely makes the team tighter. It's a lot of fun.
I want to go back to, I should have asked it then. I want to ask about the squash thing real quick. Do you two ever go upstairs in Ferris in the winter?
Yeah, I love playing
I've never
squash.
done it with you.
Never together, but yes, we love squash.
Yeah.
I love squash.
We'll do like a tennis squash tournament.
Yeah.
Once a year, and I have to go up there and, you know,
Kind of show
people what's up.
show people what's up.
Yeah.
What about you, Phoebe? Do you feel the same way with the team? You can handle things pretty well on the squash court.
Well, we've never done it with our team playing squash, but for sure, love squash. You know, the strokes come out immediately.
Yeah.
Everything feels good. But yeah, I definitely go upstairs and play.
So when you think about this experience, Bud, you're getting to a point in your training career where you can start to be a little bit reflective. Obviously, a lot more left to enjoy, but yeah, closer to the end of the beginning. Just talk about what it's meant to play a college sport and how much value that's brought to your training experience.
Yeah, I'd say it's, I mean, not most of the value. Obviously, academics is a big part of what I'm doing day to day. But
It's a sports podcast. You
it's,
can say
it's most of the value that I think I've found. I don't know. In high school, it was kind of the same thing. You know, we're really regimented. You know, you got to get your work done, but sports was like, you know, what I was focusing on a lot. Same thing here. The team is like, you know, one of the biggest parts of my life. Just hanging out with the same guys all the time is fantastic. Get to know everybody really well. Spend a lot of time with them, travel with them, compete with them. It's definitely more than just a friendship, which is awesome. Yeah, and I think, you know, time management, you know, like all the college, like either going into college buzzwords or leaving college job application buzzwords, like time management, teamwork, all that kind of stuff, definitely built on. But yeah, I'd say the connections is definitely the best part of it.
So what about you, Phoebe?
I would say kind of similarly, but we always have been like super programs. Like in high school, we were in season 3 seasons, so we were always really busy. And I love that about playing a college sport. Like I love having the structure to my day and knowing exactly what I'm doing next, and like having people, especially him too, on the same schedule as me and all the other athletes. It kind of like brings everybody together because we have such similar experiences no matter what sport it is. And people who do it, they get it. Like whether it be like you're really busy or stressed out, everyone kind of understands what's going on. But yeah, I love my team, super close obviously because we're together so often and we travel together and spring break together and everything. And one of the other things is I love having a coach figure in my life because that's like very different than like a professor or an academic advisor, because I don't feel like me and my academic advisor really like chat a lot, or he doesn't really know what my day-to-day is. But like my coach sees me on like days where everyone's in a great mood, super high energy, or like, I don't know, when it's raining and everyone's got a lot of work and stressed out. And yeah, it's kind of good to have someone who's like overseeing everything, but also like someone you can talk to about anything going on. So
So I'm sure it wasn't all lollipops and rainbows growing up. There are probably times when you're at each other's throats. Does any of that come up now, or have you both just matured so much
So
that
mature.
you never ever get at each other's
We
throats?
never fight ever.
So the question is really, what's the thing that kind of comes up from your childhood or growing up together when you're just having a bad day, Bud, and you just want to get under Phoebe's skin, or vice versa, Phoebe? I want to hear what you know you can do to get under Bud's skin.
well, it's good to say we no longer physically fight. That
That's
was
good.
a big
Yes, we're all
childhood.
happy about
That was a
that.
big childhood problem.
Yeah.
Bud would start kicking and be, oh my gosh, and it was I was always on the worst end of
We
it.
bite.
Uh,
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
but
not good.
now, I would say we do definitely still get on each other's nerves. Like last year when I didn't drop your tennis bag off of the tennis court for you and you were yelling on Allen Street.
When you would take the car with my tennis bag in it, that was not good.
Yeah.
That kind of thing still comes
Yeah.
up, but it's more like, it's not like she's going out of the way to annoy me. It's just like
It's opportunities for
it's
communication.
it's
Yeah,
like where
right.
she could like, she knows it'll get under my skin, and she just does it anyways. That kind of thing.
But you know, sometimes we keep each other in check.
Yeah.
Like if Bud needs to hear it, like I don't.
It's always if I
hesitate.
need to hear it.
Yeah. Or but I would say vice versa.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
She's the more vocal of the two.
But
And
less
then-
fighting.
And so it doesn't sound like it, but it doesn't sound like you have to go through your parents at all for stuff like this. That you two pretty much are just on each other. Once in a while, do mom and dad have to get involved?
I don't think. Yeah, they don't really get involved in stuff like
Yeah,
that.
no, not anymore.
Yeah. Being away from home helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have to supervise anything.
Yeah, I feel like our fighting really. We moved out. Well, not. We moved to. We left
Yeah.
for boarding school at 13.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really used to like figuring it out on our own now. Like especially between the two of us. Like when we were like 8 and 10, like
Yeah.
it was different. But yeah.
So, Bud, next year, life after Trinity.
Yes.
What direction are you headed in?
That's a good question. I'm trying to figure that out. I had an internship in private wealth management last summer in Poughkeepsie, looking to do that, hopefully. Would love to live in New York.
Sure.
Yeah, it's kind of
Keep
all
playing
I've got.
tennis?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think definitely pick squash back up. Yeah, I haven't played a ton over the last 4 years, so I'd love to really get back into that.
Good.
Yeah.
Phoebe, have you started to think about life after Bud at Trinity?
Life after Bud at Trinity. No, not really. I did think about it a little bit, and it's kind of sad because we do so much together. We get lunch together at least 3 times a week. We always, we're always together. So it's not going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be great because I will be here, but yeah, it'll be different for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what about you? Have you zeroed in on a major yet, or are you still?
No, I'm still undecided.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's been great having both of you. As you think about the rest of the season, still got plenty of memories to make with one more tournament in the fall for both of you.
Yeah.
And then we go into the spring with another spring break trip down to Florida, and then a great NESCAC season as well. So
Exactly.
Yes.
wishing both best of luck to both of you, and appreciate you coming on and
Thank you very much.
being vulnerable and sharing.
Yeah.
And anytime we can help siblings come together, even in greater ways, we appreciate it. So thank you both.
Fantastic.
Best of luck
Thank
to
you very
both of
much. Yep.
That'll do it for this conversation in the Coop. For all the latest news, scores, and schedules, go to bantamsports.com. Follow us on social at Bantam Sports. Until next time.